Our next speaker is not a stranger to us. Needs no introduction, but Congresswoman Foxx, we're glad you're here. Come on and come forward.
Appreciate it. Well, I was listening closely to what the other folks were saying, and I want to thank you all, first of all, for having me here. Justin does a great job of keeping me informed, and I love staying involved with Yadkin County. You do make me feel very welcome. I feel very, very much at home here. So we've mentioned it's important to pay attention to the judge races. It certainly is. It has made a huge difference in this state, particularly recently, and it will make an even more difference in 22 and 24. So I do want to urge you to pay really close attention. There's about a 40% drop-off in people voting because North Carolina has a long ballot by the time they get to the judges to vote. We lose at least 40%, and that's not good. That is not good that happens, because the judges are so important to us. As Justin said, we can pass bills in Congress, in the legislature, and then the judges may just dispose of them after all the work's been done. You all know about some of the things people in this state cared about. Voter ID, for example. We passed a constitutional amendment, and one judge held it up, threw it out. We went through 2 elections, I believe, without voter ID. Then she was overruled, and Valerie can tell you more about that process, but now we're back, we believe, to being able to go to voter ID in North Carolina. We voted on a constitutional amendment to make marriage between one man and one woman in North Carolina. That was invalidated by a judge after we had like 61% of the people vote for it. So we really do need to pay attention to the judges. Something Paul said is really of concern to me. That happens all the time with our bureaucracy, and all of you in here have run into it. We've all run into it, and that is time. You know, I tell people all the time, I can lose money in the stock market, I may be able to make it up. But you know, if somebody takes away my time, it can never be made up. And it just drives me crazy that our bureaucrats don't respect our time. They do not respect our time. And it's the most maddening thing in the world to me. And I'll tell you, those of you who know me, I don't waste anything. And particularly, I don't waste my time. Because again, it can't come back to you. So forcing farmers to take time, to take people with H-2A approvals, to have to go every 9 months to get there, that's just wasted time. These are people who get paid in a salary whether they're there or not there. And they don't think about the people who aren't on salary, who have to be out there producing. So I will urge you on my behalf, on McHenry's behalf, on Ted Budd's behalf, if you run into a problem with those bureaucrats, call us sooner rather than later, and let us see what we can do to help. I'm glad Justin introduced Audrey Bishop. Audrey is my district director in the Boone office. We will not supposed to answer calls from Yadkin, because you've got a wonderful member of Congress in Patrick McHenry, but I have had people call me from here because they know me, and then we try to refer them to Patrick, and as Justin says, all of us will work together, and I think that's what's important. So let us know, let your member of Congress know as soon as you possibly can. I want to tell you that the other area that we need to be worried about, and you all already know this, Farm Bureau is so familiar with this, and that's the rules and regulations that get adopted after we pass laws. What has been the biggest bugaboo for Farm Bureau over the years was what? Waters of the U.S. That was not a law. I mean, it started with a law, but it became a rule and regulation. And I've never really talked much about this, but I got to thinking about it while while Paul was talking, that is one of my areas of expertise. I worked on it when I was in the legislature, in the minority, because it was one place that I could make a difference when Republicans were in the minority. And I learned a lot about it, and you all taught me about that. And so in Washington, I continue to work on that, in addition to education issues, in addition to labor issues. I will tell you, the committee I serve on, the Education and Labor Committee, I'm the lead Republican on that committee. Over 50% of the bills that have gone to the floor this year in the House of Representatives come from that committee. And you'd be surprised to know some of the subject matter that's in those bills. One of the major things we fight for on that committee, which you never hear about, is freedom of religion. That committee is doing everything it can to take away our freedom of religion in this country. And it is one of the most disturbing things I deal with all the time. Ted may speak to this, I don't know, in terms of what his work is, but the Appropriations Committee just met this week, and the Appropriations Committee is now going to let your hard-earned money go to fund killing little babies before they're born. And really upsets me. And in every one of our committees where we've had an opportunity, we've tried to stop that. But I believe we'll lose that battle in the House this year. And it's very, very frustrating to us. There's just a lot of radical things going on in Washington right now. I just came from the reason I'm always late for these meetings or don't get to come is my school, which doesn't exist anymore, Crossnor High School, has its annual reunion on the same day of this meeting in the late afternoon. So I drive down here from Avery County to get here. And people up there kept saying to me, how can you stand it? How can you stand it? And I said, well, the main reason I can stand it is because I know there are people like you praying for us who see what we see and are concerned about the future of the country. But I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about what's going on. I have a friend, and I talked to her on the way down here. She says her view of this is the Lord is revealing to us all of the evil that's out there in the world right now. And that's to make us even more aware of what we need to do. So what I want to urge you to do is Farm Bureau will not be involved in all the issues that we are involved with and that you care about. They have a narrow, but pay attention. We can change this. It is not a lost cause. I will never believe it's a lost cause till everything's completely over. So I want to say to you, you're very well informed. Farm Bureau keeps you well informed on lots of issues, but you stay well informed and you encourage others to be well informed because, again, we can turn this around. So don't be depressed. Keep praying for us and keep saying, I don't know how you stand it, but letting us know that you are aware of what's going on. God bless you, and thank you for letting me be here tonight.